Hello Manchester United fans, welcome back to the Manchester Evening News. I'm Sam Hutchison and I'm here today to give my player ratings from the entire season. I hope you've had a nice couple of weeks without any football. I actually had a weekend off this weekend, so that was really nice, but I hope you're not missing football too much. Manchester United will be back in action pretty soon on their pre-season tour, and then the season starts all over again and we're ready to do it all over again. So it's not too long without football. But here are my player ratings from that 2022-2023 season. And, I mean, it's a mixed bag for Manchester United across the board. For Ten Hag, fantastic first season in England. I don't think we could criticise his first season in England at all, really. And I do think, you know, the season's over now, top 3 finish. All in all, good season, positive. However, there are some players that have stood out and there are some players that haven't and have really disappointed this season. But without further ado, let's get straight into the player ratings. For the goalkeepers, David De Gea, it was a hit and miss season for De Gea. Some really good saves and he was showing still what we know he's best at as a shot-stopping goalkeeper. However, his distribution clearly isn't up to scratch. Clearly isn't Ten Hag's keeper for the future. That's why he's interested in more keepers this summer. It doesn't suit the system that Ten Hag wants to play, really. He still makes great saves, and that's always been his sort of strength as a goalkeeper. But goalkeepers as a position has developed since he joined Manchester United under Sir Alex Ferguson. You can't just be a good shot stopper anymore. That's not how it works, especially at Premier League level. He did win the Premier League Golden Glove for keeping the most clean sheets, but that is a team award nowadays rather than a goalkeeper award. Overall, I'd give him a 6 this season. He could improve. He probably won't in a Manchester United shirt, and it makes sense that Erik ten Hag is looking for a new goalkeeper. Dubravka, strange loan move from the start, cut short in January, and I can't really give anything above a 2. And then Heaton, Man United's third choice goalkeeper, only made 2 EFL Cup appearances this season. Didn't actually concede in either of them though. Filled his role as a number 3 keeper pretty well. Has been pretty much exactly what you need as a third choice goalkeeper. I gave him a 6 as well. As for defence, we're going to start off with Lisandro Martinez. A fantastic first season in England. Gone from strength to strength after being dragged off at half-time against Brentford really early on in the season. And it was sort of, he looked like a bit of a dud in that game. However, since then, he's really kicked on. He's been fantastic. He won the World Cup, let's not forget. And he's really made everyone eat their words. At the start of the season, there was loads of criticism. Is he tall enough to be a Manchester United centre-back in the Premier League? But the Butcher has been brilliant. That's all I can say. He has to be a 9. A fantastic debut season. And it's his first season in England. Imagine how good he's going to be next year. Rafael Varane, a great season at the heart of Ten Hag's defence. I think he has honestly been one of Man United's most consistent performers. Never standing out as like a negative or especially a positive. He never stands out either way, really, in Man United's defence. This could be viewed as a negative, but I mean it as a positive. He's been the rock in the defence, next to a more combative and stepping up centre-back in Martinez, and the calmer, much calmer sort of Lindelof. I gave Varane an 8 for the season. Lindelof is comfortably United's third choice centre-back now, jumping over Maguire in the pecking order, and he's been quietly great in most of his performances this season. Whether he's next to Martinez or Varane, next to Maguire, it's still the same sort of issues where they both want to play a very similar role. But next to Martinez and Varane, he complements their skills very well. He's shown his versatility this season. He's comfortable on the left and the right next to, like I say, Martinez or Varane. And I think he's proven himself as a quality option for Ten Hag going forward into next season and maybe even into the future past that for Manchester United. I give him a 7. Harry Maguire. Maguire's issue is the transfer fee that was paid for him. He just can't seem to live up to that pressure that he wants to make himself live up to. I don't really think he'll ever live up to that sort of £85 million transfer fee. I think it is probably time for Man United to cut their losses. It's just another poor season at Old Trafford. I don't think he was the right man for the right role that Manchester United needed, and he definitely isn't anymore. I gave him a 3 for the whole season. And then for fullbacks, Luke Shaw, arguably the best left-back in the league this season. And that really shows a lot, especially after some of the criticism he has been on the receiving end of during his United career. Proven himself as an attacking asset, especially this season. and some of his crosses, sort of given an actual striker, would have been absolutely fantastic assists. He puts the ball into the box so often for it to just so often end in nothing. And he could be a really massive asset for Man United next season. Say they get one of these world-class strikers that's going to get on the end of chances and actually convert them. He lost his position to Malacia at the start of the season and then earned it back. He even moved to centre-half and was one of United's best performers there as well. And it's been possibly Shaw's best season in a Man United shirt. You'll have to let me know in the comments. Overall, I give him a 9. For Tyrone Malacia, it was a very average season, but I don't think many United fans expected much more of a player brought in to be backup from the Eredivisie. When Shaw moved central, he was solid as a left back, and he is still young, so maybe next season he will continue his development and give Erik ten Hag a nice problem to have off to the left of defence. Overall, I give him a 6. Dalot, I actually gave a 7. Before the World Cup, would have been an 8 or a 9, but since the start of 2023, he's been in much closer competition with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who's the next entry on my list. Clearly, he's a better attacking option there. His defensive output is just much lower than Aaron Wan-Bissaka's, and that really doesn't run very well when you've got such an attacker in Anthony on the right or Sancho on the right who don't really do much defensive work. So overall, I have to give him a 7. And then the comeback story of Man United's season, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, frozen out of the team at the start of the season. He's fought his way back into Ten Hag's thinking, and he may even be the first choice at right back now. If he does leave this summer, I think he will be missed more than many Man United fans think. I give him a 6. Brandon Williams, his only minutes came in the EFL Cup, and even then he only got onto the pitch for 5 minutes all season. It's time for Brandon Williams to leave the club. It's got to be this summer. I gave him a 3. And then moving into midfield, Casemiro, United signing of the season. Casemiro is the solution that Man United fans have been calling for years. He has scored some important goals, and if it wasn't for a poor disciplinary record, he would probably been Man United's player of the season. He just missed a couple too many games, I think. He has been suspended for some massive games, it's a real shame that he missed the games he did miss. Man United's season may have looked even better come the end of it had Casemiro not missed those games. I think overall I have to give him an 8, just purely on the fact that he's missed quite a few games really this season. Scott McTominay, personally I'm not sure his best position is as a DM or a sort of 6, and I think his best performances this season have been as more of a box-to-box midfielder. He makes really good late runs into the box and provides another sort of option for Man United, a headache for the opposition when he does make those runs. He just doesn't seem to ever get any minutes there. And I mean, Erik ten Hag is the manager, he sees a lot more of Scott McTominay than me, but I don't think he's as much of a scapegoat as he sort of gets for Man United sometimes. So that being said, it's not been a vintage season. I do think maybe a move could suit him this summer. Let me know what you think in the comments, Manchester United fans, but overall I have to give him a 5. Fred, it's been a strange season for Fred. He's shown glimpses of quality, but hasn't really been a regular starter and lost his place to Eriksen at the start of the season. He's had some huge moments and been my man of the match in a couple of games this season, but he's also been the worst player on the pitch on a couple of occasions as well, and there's no consistency in performances from Fred. One week he'll look like a man of the match, and the next week he will just be the worst player on the pitch. It'll look like he doesn't even know where he is half the game, and I mean it can even switch at half time sometimes, and I mean I can't really give him anything above a 6 for the whole season. Donny van de Beek, another injury hit season. His United career has barely begun and it might already be over. We haven't seen anything from Van der Beek since he came in from Ajax, and it is a real shame. There is a talented player there. I mean, we all saw it when he was at Ajax and we just haven't seen it since he joined Manchester United. Maybe I'd give him one more season as that sort of rotation option. He can play a lot of midfield roles, so he could actually be a real good option for Ten Hag next season, say if he doesn't get this extra midfielder that he's requesting. But it's just not been a good season from him. Again, we need to see a run of games. I have to give him a 4. Eriksen, great in the first half of the season, but the second half he has looked a little bit leggy and tired, and his FA Cup final performance was nothing short of shocking. He was the worst player on the pitch by miles. It was a clever signing at the start of the season, on a free, clearly quality player from his past, but his age is beginning to catch up with him. It's a real shame to say it. He's not a natural 8, really. He's much more of a 10. He's definitely not a 6. And it does leave United exposed sometimes in midfields. Casemiro's got to do so much defensive work. And when Casemiro's not there, there is nobody doing this defensive work. And he really did have some absolutely awful performances towards the end of the season. I think I have to give him a 6. Sabitzer, you'll have to let me know what you think of Sabitzer, Man United fans. But I'm unsure. I just can't decide either way. Has he really brought anything to Man United since January when he signed? I don't really think so. He's not really done anything special, in my opinion. I couldn't really remember a specific moment from him this season when I was planning this video. I mean, thinking about it now, I can't think of anything off the top of my head where I've been specifically impressed or disappointed in Sabitzer. Let me know, Man United fans, would you take him on a permanent? Would you look to sort of exercise that option if there is one there? You're going to have to let me know in the comments, because I just really am not sure. I give him a 5 overall. Mainu, 87 senior minutes this season is barely enough to judge. He probably did deserve more, and he did win the Jimmy Murphy Young Player of the Season award. And I don't know if 87 minutes is really enough to win that award. It's not really good enough. I really hope we see a lot more of him next season, or he goes out on loan. And I want him to become such a crucial player for Man United, you know. Man United have always had these academy products coming through into the first team and having these seasons. And Garnacho's done it this season, but I think Mainu, maybe next season, will really have to do that. I don't think I've seen enough of him to be able to give him anything above a 6. Bruno Fernandes, another year, another spectacular season. He's crucial to the way Man United play. He scores, he creates, he gets assists, and the only criticism really is that he's throws his hands up in the air and sometimes comes across like he doesn't care enough, and that's just not right. He clearly cares. That's why he's throwing his hands up in the air. He knows how well Man United can play, and he's so influential to the way Man United play that when he plays well, Man United usually play better, and that's just a quality that's irreplaceable. I gave him a 9. And then moving into attack, Rashford, it's been a real redemption season for Rashford. I don't think if I asked you, Man United fans, at the start of the season, would you have been unhappy to see him leave? I'm not sure how many of you would have said yes or no, but I would reckon it was probably about 50-50. This season, if I asked you now, I think it would be 100% he's got to stay. He's been scoring for fun this season, and he's one of the first names on the team sheet week in, week out. Imagine him with an actual striker in front of him who can play consistently. Imagine the partnership that could be attainable, realistic for Man United next season. It makes my mouth water how good that could be. Marcus Rashford, I have to give a 9. Jadon Sancho is a strange one. He's such a great player on his day. It's just that day just never seems to come. It comes around so infrequently that it just never manages a good run of form. Like, he'll have one good game and then the next week he'll drop a 4 out of 10. It's another disappointing season in my opinion. I mean, would you accept a reasonable offer? And what does a reasonable offer look like for Jadon Sancho? Like, he was so expensive to bring in, and he's just not really shown any of that skill. I just think it has to be a 4. Anthony Elanga, one of Man United's many left wingers. A loan or even a permanent move is needed for him now, really. And he shouldn't be short of interest. He has actually shown some quality in his Man United career, especially towards the end of the previous season. But this season he's just not really done much. And I think he lost his place as a regular. He's barely played in the second half of the season. I have to give him a 5, but I don't think he'll be short suitors this summer. Garnacho, and this was his true breakout season. He will become a much more important player for Man United going forward. And this season he's been a real breath of fresh air on the left wing. Direct, attacking, like his defensive output's not there, but his attacking output is so good, and he gets the crowd off their feet, which is so important for a Man United winger. There's such a philosophy at the club that needs to be maintained no matter who the manager is, and I think Garnacho is really good at that. I think he has to get a 7. Anthony, I think this one will split opinion. I'm a big fan of Anthony, and I think he will become a much more important player for Man United next season. I was a really big fan when he signed from Ajax. I loved him at Ajax. I loved him in the Champions League. I thought he was so direct, so attacking, and so sort of creative with what he does. He does not something that no one else in world football can do on that right wing. Just this season, he's not managed to put it all together. He's shown those bits of class that we've seen, like I say, at Ajax, and He's shown bits of sort of like his cutting in on his left foot, and that curling shot that he does is fantastic. I love seeing it. I love seeing him beat a man. His pace seems to have dropped off since the World Cup. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with the World Cup or the busyness of Man United's schedule this season. I mean, it shouldn't be as busy next season. I do think if he can have a productive pre-season, I think he'll come into his own and be a real creative force with a real striker up there. Anthony, I have to give a 6. Pellistri, I think, really needs a loan move. We just haven't seen what he's capable of. I have to give him a 5. Anthony Martial cannot stay fit, cannot change a game, brought very little this season, and what could have been a real statement from him of pushing his way back into the Manchester United first team, pushing his way back into the starting 11. He has probably played his last game in a Man United shirt. I don't think we could see him staying past this summer, really. I have to give him a 4 for this season. He's just injured all the time. And then Weghorst, someone who has definitely played their last game. Weghorst can't do the one thing he was brought in to do, which is score goals. Definition of a stopgap signing. Ten Hag has to look forward with his strikers this summer as someone who can actually score goals and do all of the rest of the work that Weghorst does. And I think all of the options that Man United have been linked with are better than Weghorst in every single way. Who was your player of the season, Manchester United fans? Make sure to let us know in the comments. Make sure you keep it locked to the Manchester Evening News. We will keep going with 2 episodes weekly of the Manchester is Red podcast, available to listen on all good audio platforms and here on YouTube. Check us out on Twitter. Check me out at SamHutchMen on Twitter. Tweet me if you disagree with any of my ratings in this video. And I will speak to you next time.